49ers signed Charvarius Ward, one of the top free agent cornerbacks on the market, not the top one, but one of the top. The Niners gave him 3 years, $42 million. That's $14 million per year. Can't remember the last time they spent that much in a corner, and they gave him $26.7 million guaranteed. I can't remember they gave that much money to a DB. Buy or sell this signing? Was it good or not so good? Jack.
I'll start it off. Yeah, I think it's a good. I'm going to buy it. He's looks really good in man coverage, and for everything that I've seen of him, he looks like a guy that could step in and be better than what they have right now. And this might also indicate the direction that they're taking with their nickelback.
How so?
When you get into the your nickel and dime situations, you slide Emmanuel Mosley into the slot because he's played that position in the past.
Got it.
I think that's another topic though that we have.
All right. Yeah. Spoiler alert.
What's up, Coach? I'm gonna buy it, but with a caveat. Like I need to see the contract, right? Like we're that contract. It's not. It says up to $42 million, and it sounds like it's very incentivized, so it might be a very team friendly deal.
I'm guessing it is Parag Marathe. That's what he does.
Yeah, and so Grant, this is your fault again, right? You were the one clamoring for a corner, so like they're like, all right, we're not going to get J.C. Jackson or Stephon Gilmore. We're going to get this guy.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think I'm going to go with I think Eric Crocker made some very good points. I think what they really have to do is it's going to be a good signing if they play to his strengths, which are he seems to be better in press man than other coverage. So if you're going to play him in off coverage and force him to play off coverage, it's probably not going to be a good look. But if you let him play where the strength, which is press man, then it'll probably end up being a good look for him. I mean, he's only 25 years old, which I do love that. Like I like if you're going to spend money, spending it on guys that are in their prime or about to be in their prime, because that means you're going to get a lot of return, or you should, and your asset shouldn't decline. It should at least stay at level, or it should go up. So I do like that he's young. Grant, that older corners typically don't do very well. So I think if the contract is team favorable, I like it a lot.
I'm selling this. I don't like it. I mean, it's not terrible, but I don't think it moves the needle enough. It's not the missing piece. It's not going to put him over the top and have him win a Super Bowl. Had they signed J.C. Jackson, I would say this is the best team in the league with Trey Lance. They have no weaknesses. They have impact players at every level of their team, offense and defense. I thought J.C. Jackson was that kind of impact player and worth the extra money. But they don't look at it that way. The way they look at it is I admire him for spending $14 million a year or whatever they spent on a cornerback, but it's pretty clear they were like, all right, this is what we're going to spend. We're not going to go over. And they were interested in J.C. Jackson and Stephon Gilmore. Yeah, if they were willing to take $14 million a year with $26.7 million guarantee, there was a point. This is what we're going to do, and we'll get the best cornerback in that price range, and that's what they got. But to me, what's more important is not necessarily some arbitrary number. It's skill sets. And this particular secondary, this particular defense really could use one freaking dude who intercepts passes, because they're fifth in sacks, 26th in interceptions. That should never happen. And it happens consistently with this team. If you look at them as lacking a DB, a number one cornerback with legit ball skills, then those 25 picks that J.C. Jackson brings to the table are valuable, and they're worth the extra money, which ended up not being that much more. So to me, Charvarius Ward, yeah, he's good. But J.C. Jackson was the guy who they should have had. He wasn't necessarily out of their price range. He might have been. We don't know the structure, but if he was out of their price range, it's only because Jimmy Garoppolo's still on the team. So that's my rant. I'm sorry. I'm a downer. Sorry.
Yeah, and the other thing I think you have to look at, he's not signed yet, but what does Stephon Gilmore go for? If he ends up getting a 1-year deal for $10 million, I would have rather have that.
Yes.
Than, yeah.
Yes. But so that's how I feel. Was I too negative, Jack?
No, you're not too negative. I think when we're going to see these numbers come out eventually. Right now,
yeah.
The Jackson deal is $40 million guaranteed over the first 2 years, compared to what it looks like it's going to probably be 26.
Kind of
So
similar
we'll
with
see how it
Armstead and
goes.
Buckner, right? Like front loaded versus back loaded.
Yeah, that's what's happening, I think, here.
Yeah.
And I understand the people who point to the interceptions, also point to the people who say not to, because when you watch the JC Jackson highlights that I saw yesterday after the trade was over with, you're seeing a bunch of tip balls from other guys that are being caught for interceptions. So I don't know. It's an interesting.
You know what's
Well,
interesting
discussion
about
to have.
both those guys, though? What's been interesting about both those guys? They're both UDFAs. They both were undrafted free agents.
That's interesting. I mean, I'm just with JC Jackson,
Yeah.
like he gave up a 49% completion percentage last season, which is sort of where Charvarius Ward was. I mean, below 50%. That's phenomenal. But I mean, Jackson had 8 picks, and then he had 9 the year before that, and 5 the year before that, and 3 the year before that. So I mean, yeah, there's a fair amount of tips, but like, I don't think that's a fluke. Just like the fact that Charvarius Ward has only had 4 picks in 4 years is probably not a fluke. It's a skill set. I think Parag Marath wants you to believe it's like not projectable. It's volatile to a degree, but it's also a skill set. Like the 1 year, the 2 years this defense was not freaking bottom of the league in interceptions, coincidentally, was when they had Wash Richard Sherman on the team. Seriously. The same.
Yeah. Can't argue with it.
Hold on. Ben Poole says trade Lance and Kittle to Texans for DW. Lance and Kittle. That's what Jack said. Release Jimmy so he can drive them down there. I didn't read that part. It was funny. I like it. He might do it anyway. He's such a good guy, such a great teammate. That's what everyone says. I like your suggestion. Jack said it first. It could happen. Brady saw 37-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo score a hat trick and said, "I'll run it back." I still see a chance of Brady being the starter for the Niners week 1, so we'll see. What do you think?
I don't think this is going to happen, but it would be fantastic. I mean, then that Mike Fleury will get his wish, right?
Yeah. I think Brady was like at home, like messing around the house, getting into stuff, and his wife was like, "All right, fine, just go play." And then yeah, right?
She got tired of him.
Yeah. She asked him to go fix the toilet. He messed it all up, and she said, "Just get out of here."
Coach Johnston, why is it that these good cornerbacks are falling through the cracks on draft day? How should teams target good cornerbacks?
I don't know. Are you saying because they're both UDFAs? I mean, I think that's kind of abnormal that you'd have 2 corners of that caliber, especially JC Jackson. Just you don't see guys like that.
It happens at every position, though. I mean,
yeah, it does. But most of your really good corners are top picks. Like it's the JC Jackson is an abnormality, and so is Charvarius Ward.
Well, JC Jackson got kicked out of school. He had a troubled past, and then Charvarius Ward. I mean, he probably went to a small school and probably wasn't combine.
And then, it's going to be interesting, right? Because if the 49ers' 2 starting corners are going to be UDFAs.
They have a lot in common, I think, Mosley and Ward, and I think they're both good. Right, a ton in common, those 2.
I think scouting corner. It's the hardest position in football. It's the hardest position in football outside of quarterback. I think you have to have the physical traits, but then you also have to have them. You also have to have the mental side, and sometimes the mental side, it's not something that's going to show up on film. It's something that
it takes time. Look at Akella.
Yeah.
Akella did really well in Pittsburgh. If the Niners do hold on to Jimmy Garoppolo, I think it's because they don't view Jimmy Garoppolo as $27 million and Lance as $7 million. They must see it as 2 quarterbacks at $17 million each. Still crazy. Yeah, still crazy. Still crazy. But at least you try to make sense of craziness, which is always dangerous to do. All right, moving on. What do you guys think the plan? Hold on. No, here he goes. They better not get Tom Brady or Deshaun Watson. We don't need them. All we need is Trey. Also, we really need corners, and I don't know if they're going to do the job. Well, look, Charvarius Ward misses games. Emmanuel Mosley misses games. Yeah. Between those 2 and Ambry Thomas, the Niners should never be in the Josh Norman situation again. How about that? 3 outside corners who were starting caliber. How about that's good? How about that? All right.
Until we find out Charvarius Ward has an ailing knee that.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Kansas City.